International North-South Transport Corridor, or INSTC for short, is the topic of this film. In essence, Russia, Iran and India are the three nations that are involved in the activities of this corridor. The network of multimodal transportation is 7,200 kilometers long. Transportation that uses both land and water as well as rail and roads is known as multimodal transportation. It links the Persian Gulf to the Caspian Sea, which is also known as an outgrowth of the Indian Ocean and of the Caspian Sea, respectively. It travels farther north towards northern Europe and Russia. The intergovernmental agreement between these three nations on the Persian Gulf side was signed in September 2000, laying the groundwork for this corridor. The Chabahar seaport, one of the Iran's 8 seaports, is the one that is closest to India. The Bandar Abbas harbour and the Caspian seaside are the two next locations. 3 seaports are in Iran. One of them is the seaport of Anzali. Therefore, once the shipment departs from India's western coast, it will travel through the Arabian Sea and arrive in Bandar Abbas, Iran. We will explain why Bandar Abbas rather than Chabahar seaport receives the shipment later. Iran has a double-track railroad that connects the city of Baku with the seaport of Bandar Abbas. There is a single-track railroad line from the Baku to Tehran, the country's capital. The railroad travels north, west and east from Tehran. The northern region is home to Anzali seaport. The ship will depart from the Anzali harbour and travel through the Caspian Sea to arrive at the Russian port of Astrakhan. From Astrakhan, products can be carried to Moscow by rail or by road, then on to St. Petersburg. The Iranian railway can travel in both an eastward and a westward route from Tehran. The western and eastern sides of this north-south route are further extensions of it. The road enters Turkey from the west, travels to Istanbul, crosses the Bosphorus Strait and then turns towards Bulgaria and other Balkan nations. Similar to Tehran, this corridor continues into China's Xinjiang province as well as Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. The 2011 Ashgabat Agreement made the eastern extension possible. The Ashgabat Accord established a direct link between Central Asian nations and the Persian Gulf. The Ashgabat Pact includes India as well. This route can continue inside Turkmenistan and connect to the ports of Kazakhstan in the Caspian Sea. The network of this north-south corridor includes Azerbaijan as well. There is not a passenger railroad running between Tehran and Baku at the moment. However, there are plans to start a passenger rail line and currently rail networks for freight are being built along the Caspian Sea shore connecting to Baku, the country's capital. The Rast-Astara railway link is what it is known as in Azerbaijan. Iran has experienced technical and financial challenges which have caused the Linsk project to be delayed for years. However, it will be finished in 2023. If there are certain goods that Azerbaijan does not require, they can be transported there directly through Caspian Sea route. If Azerbaijan does require certain goods, however, the Rast-Astara railway link can be used, and it can also cross the border between Azerbaijan and Russia to reach the region to the north. You may already be aware that India and Iran signed a bilateral agreement in 2015 for the development of the Chabahar seaport. Last month, both countries reaffirmed their commitment to working together on this project. The seaport in Chabahar is interesting since it's not only much closer to India than the seaport in Bandar Abbas. Additionally, this maritime port is not subject to the sanctions on Iran. Because seaports serve as nations' entry and exit points, whenever the United States impose sanctions on any nation, they essentially target the ports. Therefore, you essentially impose sanctions on the marine port. The lack of a railroad connection, however, is the biggest drawback of the Chabahar seaport, and who knows, perhaps that's why the United States abandoned this port. If you recall, the US administration released India from such sanctions in 2018 due to Iran's Chabahar port. India was supplying supplies to the Afghan government, then the US authorities exempted India from using the Chabahar seaport. In the past, India began exporting commodities to the government of Afghanistan since Pakistan refused to give India a land route from the Iranian port of Chabahar, and then if you recall, Iran removed India from the Chabahar rail project in July 2020. India objected to Iran's recommendation of a construction company to undertake the project, which is why they decided not to move forward with it together. Because the corporation has ties to Iran's IRGC, and as you may be aware, the United States has placed sanctions on the IRGC. India decided against moving further with the Chabahar-Zahedan railway link project for that reason. It did not want to put the entire project at danger. If the United States sanctions are ever applied, that is, without assistance from India, Iran completed the second phase of the Chabahar-Zahedan railway link project. Iran officially announced this year in March that the Chabahar-Zahedan railway link project would be finished by March 2024. This project would cost approximately $464 million to complete. So India and Iran may still work together and begin communicating. Although it's unknown whether India and Iran are actively working together on this project. There are no official reports to that effect. However, discussions are ongoing between the two administrations because it's advantageous for India. India won't withdraw from this then. On the one hand, India must consider the US sanctions, but on the other, India is committed to participating in this project. The essential point, however, is that when this project is finished, it will connect the already existing railway link between Baku-Sti and Zahedan province. As you are aware, Baku has a railway connection to the Iranian capital of Tehran, and to the northeast there is a physical structure that connects to the city of Mashhad, from which you can reach the Turkmenistan. So if you see this idea to create a train line between Chabahar and Zahedan, know that it completes the Russia-India route. Even while there is a seaport in Bandar Abbas and a seaport in Chabahar is not affected by US sanctions, you never know if the US would impose restrictions on these ports once construction is complete. However, that might or might not take place. The Suez Canal is intended to be replaced by this corridor. The cost of transportation between India and Russia is expected to be reduced by around 30%, and the distance between the two countries should be covered in 14 fewer days, about twice as much as it would take to carry across the Suez Canal. And as you may be aware, the Suez Canal, the Mediterranean route and the Baltic Sea route are not particularly sympathetic to Russia following the Russia-Ukraine war. Additionally, a few Eastern nations, as Europe has significant policy control over these maritime routes, therefore the fundamental goal of the North-South corridor is to offer a substitute for the established marine routes through the Suez Canal, the Mediterranean and the Baltic Sea. This is all there is to know right now about the international North-South transport corridor that runs from Moscow and St. Petersburg in the north to the west coast of India in the south, passing through Iran. This route will be advantageous for many Southeast Asian nations in addition to India. Iran is the key connecting point, and inside of Iran, cargo from the north or south can be diverted to the Central Asia or Eastern Europe. This highlights both the geo-economic and geostrategic significance of the worldwide North-South transit corridor. So guys, this was for today. Give us your thoughts on this in the comment section, and if you appreciate our content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with your family and friends. We will meet soon in a new video. Thank you. Jai Hind.